I'm kind of in Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and I like it. It feels unlike any of the other Assassin's Creed games. It just feels like a straight-up RPG. I mean, you hardly even think you're playing an Assassin's Creed game.
So it's a little bit different than all the rest of them. They went with a more of a different engine than they've gone through in the past, or is there similarities?
They used the same engine as Origins. They've just tweaked it a little more, worked out the bugs.
Okay. And as far as Ubisoft goes, as far as day one patches and everything, was that necessary this time, or they seem to have it right out of the gate?
Oh, I had to wait for like a 30-minute download like usual.
I think that's typical about any PS4 game these days, or Xbox game, or sometimes even Nintendo game. There's always going to be an update. It just seems to take longer on PS4.
And games are getting bigger and bigger, and not only is it a patch, but depends on what console you're on now too, because we're on the second half.
I know I've talked to a cousin of mine that said that he's just used to it now, that as soon as he gets a game, he knows that he has to wait. And that's why he started doing all of his stuff through digital downloads, because even if you buy a game, you still have to wait to download pretty much a pack of something to get onto the game.
I got my Xbox One X last year and started putting all my games back on there, and I had to get all the 4K upgrade files, and Quantum Break added like an extra 77 gigabytes on top of the 48 that were already on the disc. So got to have a lot of hard drive space too.
I guess patches aren't a bad thing necessarily. It makes for a game's deadline being able to hit when it's supposed to hit. Of course, in a perfect world, everything's going to be right. Right when you get the game, pop it in, it's good to go. But it's nice that if they have a deadline they have to hit, they want to get it out for the holidays, that they're able to release a patch right after it, so developers can work on that as well. Yeah, so there's good and bad.
Biggest downfall just is that it gives them an excuse to release an unfinished game and say, we'll fix it later.
There's that too.
Sometimes they'll do it like with No Man's Sky, where they spent the time to really make things right and make it an awesome game. And you've got things like Fallout, where they're going to come up with every excuse on why they did it the way they did, and it wasn't that big of a deal, but it's always probably going to be broken.
Oh yeah, I mean you see it in some of these games that it seems like they're just rushing as fast as possible. You can see blurry lines in the characters, not just in the story, but just in the way they emulate the game. And
even like Mass Effect, was it 2 years ago? Andromeda, when it came out, and the character models looked like last gen.
Yeah.
And the faces were just creepy.
Yeah.
I haven't played the newest one. Is it any good?
I've just barely touched on it. Everything looked good except for the character models, which they kind of tweaked, but then they just gave up. I know they kind of went a little bit more straightforward with this game than the traditional Mass Effect, and that's kind of what made people upset. So Mass Effect is kind of in limbo, and we're going to get Anthem in its place, which looks to be pretty awesome.
I haven't seen the trailer for that. I'll have to look that up.
Anthem looks pretty great. It's from true BioWare, not an offshoot. It's the BioWare itself that is making it. Cool. So they're going to put the quality into it, you can tell.